we're going to be talking about this Harley FXR, more specifically the Harley FXRS 1985. Alright, so I'm starting this video just because I think it's a really cool bike and it deserves its own video. I think it's so cool that I'm forcing myself to be on camera and talk about it because I think a lot of people will enjoy it. Originally, my goal, which probably wasn't going to happen anyway, was to take this bike to the Frisco Chopper Show on January 18th, I believe, this year. Unfortunately, I'm going to be working, so I thought I'd just make a little video about it because I think the bike itself deserves some appreciation. A little bit of prefacing. I did not build this bike, nor do I own this bike. This is my dad's bike, so I covered up the license plate and everything. And we are basically, he is a steward of this ship. All right, so we didn't build it, but we think it's very cool and just keeping it pretty much how it is. So I'm going to kind of go into what it originally looked like when it was purchased, and some things that we've changed, which is basically pretty much just this air cleaner and some covers. Just kind of bring it up a little bit of modern day style, and then at the end we'll kind of talk about plans for the bike. Originally it started off kind of what I would call root beer brown with silver. My Harley enthusiasts, which I am, but people that are more knowledgeable, you can go ahead and say what that factory color would be, and I'll have some pictures of it when it was first purchased as well. So she was purchased in California, I believe 1985, off the showroom floor, from what I can understand. And then we'll be diving into some receipts, because luckily the original builder and owner kept all the receipts, and a couple pictures, which I think you guys will think is pretty cool. So like I said, it's a 1985 FXR, more specifically the FXRS. The only things that are on this bike that it came with is the tack and our 9-spoke wheels. However, those were powder coated, so pretty much everything on this bike, including the motor and the internals, have been touched. The first thing I notice on the bike that stands out to me the most is honestly the paint, which is, not super mechanical what we're into, but man, it really catches my eye. As far as the little things like the purple shield that goes and flows with it, so it's a dark purple kind of, I wouldn't call it shadow, but dark purple frames on a nice black paint job, so it doesn't stand out too much. I think it's very nice and very subtle. And then I'll show you the War Eagle catalog that I believe the paint was inspired from. I believe that's why it's in the folder case. So I really dig it. I think it's super cool, but super subtle. Flames can be super overplayed, but like I said, I think it's real subtle, and I think it's very period correct. Back in 1985, I think someone either really cool was riding this bike or a Coke dealer, honestly. It kind of gives off those Coke dealer vibes, which I don't condone drugs, but it's kind of the vibe, I get from the bike. It's a hot rod, it's got flames, super cool. So I did find this is what I was talking about. It's from some sort of magazine, I'm assuming, or catalog, with the War Eagle setup, which is this fairing and right here. Okay, so I believe that this is the same one, so I believe that was ordered from the catalog. The fairing seems a little bit different, but I also am showing this because I believe that this is what inspired the paint job that I also found this in here, which I don't know if the original owner, I don't know if this is something she designed or had someone draw up, but this would be the artwork that's found right here. And I think that's pretty cool that someone held on to this, But what I do have is a couple dyno sheets, so I can tell you that this bike's pushing about 75 horsepower, which for 1985 is pretty quick. And considering how light this bike is and narrow and skinny, 75 horsepower, that'll do it. Okay, I can attest it's pretty snappy, pretty fast. It has a lot of low end torque. Unfortunately, it just sells horsepower, but I assume this bike has a decent amount of torque. Okay, so I had mentioned some dyno sheets, and I'll go over that. And what I did find is it tells us a little bit about what's done to it. So from the best run in purple for the performance run, it's 97-inch stock cases, 75 degrees Fahrenheit was the temperature. So with 97-inch stock cases, it was pushing about 65 horsepower at 120 miles per hour. Then we come over here to sheet number 2, which I'll show you. And with 80-inch cases, SE11 racing cam, push rods, with the 2-in-1 exhaust which was put on, a new cleaner, dyno ignition, a 72 main jet and S&S carb, which that has changed, and some advanced timing, 1 degree, advanced at a degree. It was pushing 75 horsepower at 110 miles per hour. So I'm not an expert, but we have our purple line there, and as you can read, that's your 97-inch stock cases with a 2-into-1. So it did have that exhaust installed at the time, and it was pushing about 65 horsepower. We come over here, looking again at our purple line, and as you guys can see for yourself, if you'd like to build a bike like this, we went from 97-inch, and now it's saying 80-inch with an SE11 racing camshaft, push rods. Okay, we're pushing about 75 horsepower at, based off the last scale, it's roughly 110 miles per hour. Now I'll talk about what's on the bike and plans for the future. If I can convince the man himself, right? What I would like to see is some death metal risers. Okay, nothing too crazy. Maybe like some 6 inches, either like purple or chromed with maybe a purple bar if it's chrome. I think that'd be real cool. Bring it up to date a little bit, give you a more aggressive riding stance, as long as we can retain these original tach and speedometer. And then I think dual disc front brakes are super cool, but to be honest, I don't think the bike really needs it. I think it's cool, and it shows off the wheels on this side, so that's not too big of a deal. Everybody loves a Thunderheader, but this exhaust is really cool, and it's been on here for a long time, and we do even have an extra parts for it, so that's probably staying. And then I don't know how to cut these videos up, so I'll probably just sit here and think for a second, because there is one other thing. Mid controls, right? It has Hurst forward controls, well, Hurst brakes with forward controls, which is actually they're super nice, but neither one of us really dig forward controls. I think mids would be a little bit more aggressive. I think you can do a little bit more with that. I think it'd look really good. So that's kind of the only plans for the future, but keeping it a time capsule. So we really don't want to change anything else, to be honest with you. I think it's a great bike. I'm going to look through the receipts some more, I'm just here for a little bit of time. So I don't know everything about this bike. There's plenty more that I am going to watch this and remember to talk about, but I figure I'm inspired by some people like the Cut Rate. He's got some sick FXRs. So if you guys are into that, feel free to go down in the comment section and start a dialogue about this bike or your bike or whatever, what's different, what's changed. Maybe you saw something from the past where you're like, oh, that's sick that that's on this bike. Because I just think it's super cool and wanted it to be appreciated a little bit, right? And so really I've only seen it, and I don't know much about it. So I'm thinking in the future we'll do a better video, but there are some really nice shots of this bike. And to be honest, I really just think it deserves a little bit of appreciation, I think it's very cool. Not taking any credit, done nothing to the bike. But yeah, going back to just being a good steward and, taking care of this bike, which